Hello, everyone. Welcome to the best album of every year, starting at 1966 and going to 2025. Even though the year's not over yet, I don't think anything's going to beat my 2025 album. But this is the first major upload on this channel, pretty much, besides the few shorts that I've done. So, yeah, let's just get to it. And I've only listened to about 750 albums, I think, totaled on my album of the year page. So, not every year I'm going to have like a major album, but I think most years I have an album that I at least really like. Yeah. Starting in 1966, we have the Beatles' Revolver. I was very close to picking. I was very close to picking Aftermath by the Rolling Stones, but Revolver I probably like as more as a consistent listen. And yeah, I love Taxman. I love obviously Tomorrow Never Knows. I think those are really great tracks, very defining for 66. Even though I probably like Paint It Black really more than anything on Revolver, but yeah, I don't know, just really consistent listen and yeah, just very good. So that's for 66. For 67, it's a landslide victory for The Doors, self-titled. Uh, the Doors self-titled. I've just been completely addicted to listening to it recently. I think Light My Fire is one of the most revolutionary jams for its time, and it's just so psychedelic. I love Jim Morrison's kind of like dark, powerful, chaotic vocals throughout the whole thing. He's probably one of my favorite vocalists of all time as well. You have some like catchy pop tunes like 20th Century Fox, which like isn't even like a revolutionary song in itself, but it's just so catchy and fun and has a good guitar solo by Robbie Krieger and stuff like that. And Manzarek's playing throughout the whole album is just it just can't really be duplicated. And yeah, The Door is one of my few 10 out of 10 albums probably. So that has to take it for 67. For 68, it was really hard to choose, but I have music from Big Pink by the band. And I think this album, it has very carefully constructed songs, really great playing with tons of different instruments. You just can't beat anything like The Wait. The Wait is just a perfect song, I feel like. Um, and yeah, not one of my absolute favorite albums or anything, but I think it's a really strong album. So yeah, and some of the tunes just get stuck in my head, even stuff like Chest Fever and stuff like that. Just, I don't know, a lot of great songs. For 69, we have Let It Bleed, and this was very close. I was very close to picking Abbey Road here, but Let It Bleed is a comfort album for me, and I think a lot of my favorite songs off of this album are a little better than Abbey Road. Uh, I think Gimme Shelter is better than probably any Beatles song, and I think that you have stuff like Can't Always Get What You Want, and that song is also probably better than uh, probably every Beatles song. Yeah, honestly, I think the Rolling Stones top songs are just always better than the top Beatles songs. Although I don't want to just cause controversy there, um, but yeah, I don't know. I think the top songs Let It Bleed just kind of beat everything on Abbey Road, and I also just find it more comforting as a entire listen. And yeah, it's just one of my favorite Rolling Stones albums in general. So, um, sorry if I destroyed any Beatles fans there. I love the Beatles. Just saying my opinion there. So, but anyways, 1970, it's a pretty runaway winner for Deep Purple in rock, and there's nothing that even comes close to this. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. I just think every song on here is just perfect rock and roll. Even stuff like Living Wreck, which is pretty easily the worst song on the album, I think is actually a really great song. Like I don't know, it's a really good song. Got great playing, good chorus. Um, Stuff like Child in Time, absolutely revolutionary. You have stuff like Flight of the Rat, which I actually like probably more than Child in Time for some reason. Just think it's really fun and has that amazing organ solo in the middle. Uh, can't really beat it. You got Speed King, amazing rock song. You have Bloodsucker on there. I mean, Bloodsucker is such an underrated song. It's kind of insane, honestly. And yeah, this is easy top 10 album of all time for me, so has to be Deep Purple and rock. For 71, we have Led Zeppelin 4. Uh, really consistent listen all the way through some of Led Zeppelin's best songs on here. Um, yeah, I mean, just a classic pick, really. Don't have too much to say about it. You all know the hits. I mean, Stairway to Heaven, Misty Mountain Hop, really great. And the last track, of course, is one of the great Led Zeppelin tracks of all time. So have to give it to Led Zeppelin 4 there. For 72, this was pretty close, but we have Machine Head by Deep Purple. I'm a huge Deep Purple fan, so yeah, Machine Head is not even my favorite Deep Purple album. It's probably like third place, actually, but I think a lot of the jams on here are really good. You have the kind of more just like normal rock songs like Highway Star, Space Truckin', really underrated. I love Space Truckin' a lot. Um, but yeah, even stuff like Lazy, really good. You have Pictures of Home, that's a great song. Yeah, I don't know. Everything on here is just really amazing. Smoke in the Water, of course. So, yep. Now, 73 is a really weird year for me because we have a lot of songs that they're not 9 out of 10s for me, but there's a ton of 8 out of 10s. Like, I could have picked like 10 albums here. I decided to go with Pronounced Leonard Skinner, which I don't hear a lot of critics talk about, honestly, but I think they should because even though Leonard Skinner's a really popular band, I think their stuff is pretty much just as good as anybody else's, generally speaking, at least. And I think Pronounced Leonard Skinner, I mean, you obviously have Freebird on here. You have like stuff like Give Me Three Steps and I Ain't the One. I mean, these are just really fun country rock songs with a kind of southern twang. And I don't know, it's just really fun. I just really like listening to it. Um, and yeah, even stuff like Poison Whiskey, really good song. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of good songs in here, and I think it's maybe a little underrated among critics. Definitely not underrated overall, though. But yeah. And then for 74, we have Burn. Now, I think Burn is my second favorite Deep Purple album, actually. And I really do think you just have some of the best songs of Deep Purple's catalog on here. I mean, you have Might Just Take Your Life with that amazing organ solo. You have Burn, the self-titled track. You have Lay Down, Stay Down, Sail Away, You Fool No One. I mean, these are all just like incredible Deep Purple songs here. And I think you get a little more of a funk kind of tone on here than some of their past albums. Like their other albums were more classic rock. This adds a lot of funk into the mix, and I think it's actually really good. Um, I probably don't like their vocals as much as Ian Gillan's overall, but they're still great vocalists. So yeah, David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes, I think. So yeah, I mean it's really just a quite flawless rock album there. So that's gonna take it for 74. And for 75, we have one of my favorite albums of all time, Blues for Allah. Not talked about very much. In fact, uh, I don't think this album's really talked about at all. And I had to find it just by listening to a ton of Grateful Dead albums, essentially. But I think this really is the most cohesive, interesting experiences in any album ever. Like Help on the Way slash Slipknot is one of the most entrancing, beautiful songs. It's I think it just barely missed my top 10 songs of all time. I think it was number 11 or something. But yeah, just incredible song, like incredible opener, one of the best album openers ever. Um, and then you have Franklin's Tower, another just top tier Grateful Dead song. And then you eventually get into The Music Never Stops, and that's also just a top tier Grateful Dead song. And you get into something like beautiful and angelic like Crazy Fingers, which also made my top 100 songs of all time. And then it ends with Blues for Allah, which is just this very weird jam piece that kind of like just entrances you the whole way through and just makes the whole album feel like this interesting experience. And I like albums that do that a lot. Um, so yeah, just one of my few 10 out of 10 albums. And I really don't know why this album's not talked about for just being one of the most amazing albums of all time. I think it's transcendently beautiful. Um, but for 76, we have my second favorite Steely Dan album, The Royal Scam. And this album is talked about quite a bit, and I think it's really good. I think it's probably one of the best examples of a front-loaded album, though, I will say. I mean, I think Kid Charlemagne and Caves of Altamira and stuff like that, and yeah, they're just clearly the best songs, I feel like, on the album. But I still really like the second half. I think, it's interesting, like Talk Box and Haitian Divorce, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, really good stuff all the way through, but I think the front half is like 10 out of 10, and I think the second half is kind of like an 8 out of 10. So kind of weird there, but yeah, it's really, really great there. For 77, we're going back to back. We have Asia by Steely Dan. It's their best album. I mean, it just sounds amazing. There's tons of like saxophone on this, which I really like. And I think it's produced beautifully. It's probably one of the best produced albums of all time. Probably has a lot of their best choruses. Probably another example of a front loaded album, actually. I mean, I think Home at Last and I Got the News are not quite as good songs as the first half, but that's really fine. You can't always have Asia and Deacon Blues and Black Cow. I mean, if that's the standard we're asking for, I mean, that's ridiculous. So, but Asia is for 77. Now, 78 was very hard for me to pick a winner. There was like three albums I was kind of tied with here. I was kind of tied with like Modern Dance, Van Halen 1, and another album. I can't remember which one. Oh, yeah, it's Peter Gabriel 2, Scratch. Yeah, those were the ones I was tied with. Um, but I decided to go with Van Halen 1. I just think you have a lot of really good pop hits, really good like guitar work on the whole thing. Very revolutionary too for what the sound of the 80s would be like. And I feel like if I were to re-listen to this album again, I think I would probably put it as the number one, which is kind of the main reason I did because Peter Gabriel to Scratch. I think if I re-listened to it, I wouldn't really think much different. And Modern Dance by Perry Ubu, I think probably the same. But this one, I think I'd love it even more if I re-listened to it, honestly. So decided to go with that one. But it's very, very close between those three. 79 was also very close, but I'm going with Voulez-Vous by ABBA. I actually think it's their best album, and I don't really understand why it's not considered their best album usually. If we just go through the track list here, I think it's got a lot of my favorite hits from them. I mean, Angel Eyes is one of my favorite hits from them. Chiquitita is one of my favorite hits. Gimme, 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 another one. And I really like a lot of the other songs too. I mean, Does Your Mother Know is really fun. I really like King Has Lost His Crown, it's pretty good. As Good as New, that's great. Voulez-Vous is obviously amazing. Um, I don't know. I think the whole thing is really great, and I actually think it's pretty by far their best album for me. I don't know. I think honestly, the more I think about it, as great as Arrival is, it kind of has a little bit of duds. Like When I Kiss the Teacher, it's okay. Dum Dum Diddle or whatever it's called. I don't care about it too much. So yeah. All right, for the next one, we have 1980. So we're going into a new decade here. I don't like the 80s as much as the 70s, but we're starting off really strong with Peter Gabriel 3 Melt. Just amazing pop record. Probably one of my favorite pop albums of all time. And very interesting guitar work. It's very I don't know if it's like gritty guitar work, but it's just such a cool guitar tone that he has for that. I really like when Peter Gabriel and Robert Fripp um, do their work together, I guess. I think their style works perfectly with each other. And I think this is the best combination of songs that Peter Gabriel has in his entire career. Definitely my favorite Peter Gabriel album and one of my favorite pop albums in general. So Peter Gabriel 3 Melt right there. For 81, this was a weird one. Not a lot of super strong albums for me, and I've only listened to this album once actually. This is one of the few where I've just listened to it once. But we have Fire of Love by the Gun Club, and I can't say much about this album because I haven't listened to it many times, but it's one of my favorite punk albums probably ever. I don't know, I remember just listening to it and being like, dang, this is really good uh punk songs. They're just really fun and really really good. I don't know what to say about it. So yeah, just go listen to it if you haven't. It's really good. I don't don't know why it's not talked about as much. It's great. Um, 82 is also a weird year, but I have The Dreaming by Kate Bush. I didn't really expect this honestly to be the winner, but I looked at the albums and I was kind of like, yeah, they're about tied, but probably The Dreaming is my favorite. And yeah, it's my favorite Kate Bush album. It's probably one of the weirdest albums I've ever heard in my life, honestly. But it's really good, and I think it has two of Kate Bush's best songs, both the opening and closing track, "Sat in Your Lap" and "Get Out of My House." So yeah, just some of the best Kate Bush songs, most interesting. 82 winner. For 83, we have "Let's Dance" by David Bowie. This is not even close to my favorite David Bowie album, but I don't think the 80s years are quite as strong as the 70s, so it's a little bit easier for him to get on here. And I mean, Let's Dance is an amazing record. I don't know. It's Some people see it as a sellout, but I see it as he made some really, really strong pop hits that are really fun to listen to and make for a nice album listening experience. And I don't know. I don't even know if he's selling out. Honestly, I think these songs are pretty much just as good as a lot of his other hit albums. So while it's not my favorite David Bowie album, it's in the top 10, and it's really great. So I don't know what to say. For 84, we have Double Nickels on the Dime by the Minutemen. And guys, if you have not heard this album, I think this is one of the best albums of the 80s. This is just an incredible. I don't even know what kind of style it is. It honestly reminds me of Primus in a lot of ways. How it's got a little bit of punky energy, a lot of slap bass, a lot of cool guitar solos. All the songs are very snappy and punchy. And I don't know if anyone has made this comparison ever, Minutemen and Primus, but I can't think of a band that gets as close to what I think Primus is. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, and you guys can call me out for that. But yeah, Double Nickels on the Dime, really snappy songs. They're all 1 to 2 minutes long, and there's 43 songs in this album. It's just such an interesting experience, and I love this album a lot. Um, for number, or no, for not number 85, 1985, we have New Day Rising by Husker Du. Not even my favorite Husker Du album. I'd probably prefer Zen Arcade a tad bit, probably a tad bit, but um, yeah, I think it's about the same, honestly. And yeah, I mean, I just really love it. I really like the style of it. But admittedly, I've also only heard this album once, and yeah, I just really like the sound of it, I guess. So yeah, just very fun, kind of fast, energetic songs, like rock songs. So, yep. Now for 86, I don't know what people are going to think of this, but I have License to Ill by the Beastie Boys. And as far as I've seen from critics, like people prefer Paul's Boutique. I think they're about equal for me. I like the kind of rock energy on this one. I think that, is more prevalent here than it is on Paul's Boutique. But I don't know, the Beastie Boys could do anything and I'd probably just really like it, honestly. I don't know. I just really like their style a lot. I could listen to it for hours, honestly. And yeah, they just do their thing here and a lot of just fun hits, songs that I could just listen to forever. So I don't know. I really like their style. So that's for 86. For 87, we have Appetite for Destruction. And there's a lot of people nowadays, I think, who kind of shit on Guns N' Roses a little bit because they're like, oh, they're basic rock and roll or something. It's just so boring to me or whatever. Like, I've heard people say that, and it's like, what exactly is boring about this record? I mean, we have amazing melodies here, just very fun, catchy, just like the most amazing guitar work ever. Like, you have so many incredible guitar solos on this. You have Axl Rose, just most fire vocals, just so fun. Like, I don't know what people are missing here, and it's all like very tightly produced, very tight playing. I don't know. Like, it's as if you took Back in Black by AC/DC and you're just like, let's ramp things up a notch. That's what this album is to me, and I think it's just pure fire. One of the best albums of the 80s for sure for me. But for 88, we have Daydream Nation by Sonic Youth. Probably some of the most interesting guitar sounds ever on this album. And I don't know how to say this. I don't even love every song on this album, but I think this album represents like very much the sort of weird rock stuff that was going on in like the late 80s, which would lead to the amazing stuff in the 90s. And yeah, I think that's very prevalent here, and I still like a lot of the songs quite a bit. I just love the guitar sounds. If I want to just hear interesting guitar sounds, I'll listen to Daydream Nation by Sonic Youth. So yeah, that's for 88. And for 89, we have another weird album that kind of signifies the 90s. Also one of the most creative albums of all time. We have Doolittle by the Pixies. I don't know why when I first listened to this album, it didn't really catch my ear that much. But the more you listen to it, the more you're like, wait, this is some of the weirdest like melodies and like pop arrangements I've ever heard, because it's kind of a pop album. And a lot of the melodies resemble the 60s, I think. At least something like Here Comes Your Man. I mean, that's very much a 60s sounding song. But it has these kind of like gritty, almost grungy guitar sounds in the background, the whole album does. And I don't know, you just have these weird like sonic vignettes, almost like these short, weird sonic experiments in this album. And I think they're all just so cool to listen to. I can't explain it. But yeah, easily one of my favorite albums of the 90s or the 80s as well. I always think this is a 90s album in my head, but it's not. But yeah. And now, guys, we're going into my favorite decade here. We're going into the 90s, and especially the first half of the 90s. We almost have all 10 out of 10s. And we're going to start with one right here. Kind of alluded to it earlier. My favorite band, Primus. Frizzle Fry is going to be the winner for 1990, and it's top 5 of all time for me. Actually, 3 Primus albums are, so I'm very into Primus. But yeah, I don't know what to say about Frizzle Fry. I think it's one of my favorite sounding albums of all time. I think it just has this very like, I don't even know. The guitar sounds like it's like toasting you or something. It's so cool. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I listen to it and it's like, I don't know. It's like this fiery like feeling that you get with it, but it's also like psychedelic and proggy, and I don't know. It's just so cool to me. I can't explain why I like it as much as I do. I just think it's the coolest thing ever. It's got the best bass lines. It's got the fiery guitar work of Larry Lalonde, and I don't know. Everything about it is just really amazing to me. So that's the winner for 90. For 91, we have Sailing the Seas of Cheese. Big surprise there. This is actually my favorite album of all time, and I think every song is a hit on here. Every single song is a hit. You have Tommy the Cat. You have Jerry Was a Race Car Driver. You have Those Damn Blue Collared Tweakers. You have Sergeant Baker. And there's so much variety here. You have like Sergeant Baker is kind of like almost like funk metal song, like what people normally would say Primus is. But then you have stuff like Fish On and An American Life, which are essentially just like these kind of prog songs, honestly. And I don't know. I think they're all very poppy somehow. Like, I feel like this is kind of their pop album a little bit. They're a little less proggy than they are on some other albums. They're a little less experimental like they would be on Pork Soda. But they all just hit. so hard, and I don't know why, but I really like this album a lot, obviously, and yeah, it's my favorite album of all time. So yeah, I just think every single song is a hit, which I don't even think on Frizzle Fry and Pork Soda, maybe even if they're more interesting or experimental. But yeah, for 92 we have A Picture of Nectar by Fish. I didn't mention it, but for 1990, Lawn Boy is probably tied as my favorite album of that year, honestly. Um, but A Picture of Nectar really shows their most ambitious spirit I think ever, and I think the key to Fish being as good as they are is that they're so ambitious. Like on this rock, you have a lot of, or on this album, you have a lot of jazz rock and a lot of sort of like Latin kind of experimentation going on here. Just a lot of like fusiony elements. You have a little mix of everything in a lot of ways. And I think this song really gets boiled down to just my five favorite songs on this album. I think are some of the best songs ever made. You know, you have the kind of fiery guitar work of Llama. You have the very fun, like, I don't even know, like funk rock vibes of Cavern. You have the insane jams of Stash and Tweezer. And then you have the, again, very like fun kind of, would it be blues rock, I guess, vibes of Chalk Dust Torture. And yeah, I think some of the best songs ever made, and some of the best guitar work ever on this album. Just very fun experience. For 93 of Pork Soda by Primus. And Pork Soda is probably their most experimental album. You have some of the best jams ever, like Hamburger Train. You have My Name is Mud, which is one of their best songs. You have Pork Soda. You have, and I think DMV is also one of their best songs. It's hard to explain what I love about this album so much, but I think the one thing I like about Primus a lot is you have these really great bass lines, and they're kind of like slammed on top of like the crazy experimental guitar work of Larry Lalonde, and obviously I think Tim Alexander is a top tier drummer as well. But I really like the guitar and the bass kind of like melding together to create these like weird sounds, and I think that couldn't be more prevalent on Pork Soda. Like, you know, you have My Name is Mud, you have that like ending kind of guitar solo, and it's just this weird like guitar like sludginess on top of the bass, and I think that really happens here on Pork Soda more than any other album, and I think it's just so amazing. And I think the experimentation really works out in its favor. It's definitely if you want something even weirder than most Primus albums already are, you're gonna go to Pork Soda, and I think that's awesome. Yeah, it's probably their last 10 out of 10 album, but just incredible. For 1994, we have Hoist by I was gonna say Pearl Jam for some reason, by Fish. And the reason I was going to say Pearl Jam is because I think it's about tied with Vitalogy by Pearl Jam for me, probably around there, but I think Hoist is slightly better. Um, and yeah, you have a lot of their more commercial hits here. You have like Sample in a Jar, you have like Down with Disease, for example. And then you have their more like amazing jams like Demand, which I actually think is extremely underrated. And yeah, it's a very successful, like more commercial effort for Fish, and it ends up actually being my third favorite Fish album, which is kind of crazy because I don't think people see Hoist as that amazing, but I actually think it's almost as good as their like just their completely best stuff, honestly. So yeah, I really love Hoist, and that's why it's number one for 94. 95, we have Tales from the Punch Bowl by Primus. This will be, well, second last Primus entry here. And yeah, Tales from the Punch Bowl, it's more jammy, it's more kind of psychedelic almost, and it has my favorite song ever on it, which is Professor Nutbutter's House of Treats. And you know, you also have amazing stuff like Winona's Big Brown Beaver. You have Southbound Pachyderm is an amazing song as well. And I think a lot of their most like progressive and experimental like kind of jams are really prevalent here. And I think it's a different element of Primus that I really like. And while I don't think it's as consistent as their other albums, or maybe, well, okay, I guess it does have the highs, but maybe not as many consistent highs. I think it has to be a little lower than the other Primus albums, but it's certainly the best of 95 for me, and there's no question about it. So, yeah. For 96, we actually have Tiny Music, Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop. And I don't know why I like this album so much. Apparently, critics don't really like this album. I don't know. When I was listening to the Stone Temple Pilots albums, I was like, this is just the most interesting grunge album I've like almost ever heard. And it's hardly even grunge, really, but I don't know. I really like it a lot. I think it's got some of their most experimental stuff, and yeah, it's really cool. For 97, we're going back to Primus for the last time. We have Brown Album, and the Brown Album is probably one of their best sounding albums, weirdly enough. I like the reverb on the drums quite a lot. I think Jack White has actually said, for whatever reason, this is one of their best sounding albums. At least I think I heard that on an interview or something. But yeah, it's just really really good sounding album. I think it's definitely a lot less experimental than their other stuff, unfortunately, and I think it kind of shows the decline of Primus a little bit. They're getting a little less into their more energetic and interesting sounding songs, and they're kind of getting into these maybe a little more repetitive, not as interesting kind of songs. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, Brenham, it's really good, really, really good. Best of 97, but it's not as good as their other work, and you can kind of see the decline happening, unfortunately. So that's why, well, it's still best of 97, so yeah. For 98, we have the incredible In the Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel, and I don't know, there's songs that absolutely like melt my heart on here, like In the Airplane Over the Sea and King of Carrot Flowers Part 1, stuff like that. A lot of other great songs, like, what's the one, like 1945, I think it's called, Holland 1945, pretty sure. That's a great song, and Oh Comely is just an incredible song. A lot of like cool sounding guitars on here, very weird production, so pretty excellent album there. 1999, we have California by Mr. Bungle. This is a classic. I think this was my first 10 out of 10 ever. Maybe it was To Pimp a Butterfly, spoiler, I guess, but I don't think anyone would have predicted anything else for 2015 anyway. But yeah, I think California is just one of the coolest sounding albums. It takes this kind of like tropical, like almost spooky kind of vibe to it, and it just makes a variety of different songs. Like you've kind of like sort of metally songs on here, and then you have sort of calmer, weird, like, I don't know, almost spooky rock tunes. I don't know how to explain it. This album is just spooky. Like it gives you like almost a little bit of anxiety in a lot of the songs, and I think it's more clear on the opening track than really any other track. Like a song that sounds very normal and tropical and kind of beautiful, but it turns into this kind of like spooky, like weird song. And I don't know, I think just from the opener alone, you can know what this album is going to be like. But I don't even think the opener is nearly the best song, even though it's amazing. Um, and yeah, I just think everyone should listen to it. It's not a super well known album, I guess, but it's definitely one of the best albums ever, in my opinion. So yeah. Now, guys, we're moving on to the 2000s, and admittedly, I've heard less 2000s music than probably any other decade, so this might not be as interesting, maybe, but first off, we're going with Kid A, which, I mean, is kind of a classic. Radiohead's far from my favorite band. I think they're really overrated, actually, but I think Kid A is a great album. A lot of sonic experimentation here, very cold sounding, and yeah, I mean, the national anthem, I really love that song. I think that's really good. Idiotech's also great, so yeah, Kid A, I mean, kind of a weak year, but I think Kid A is a great album. So yeah, nothing, no shame there. 2001, we have The Grand Pecking Order. This is a collaboration between Les Claypool from Primus, Trey Anastasio from Fish, and I think Stuart Copeland from the drummer of The Police, which is crazy that these three combined into a band, Oysterhead. Yeah, The Grand Pecking Order, I just really like all the songs, and not my absolute favorite or anything. I don't think it's really as good as any of the best Primus or Fish albums, but it's really great. And turns out when you just get some of the best people at their respective instruments together, you just create one of the best albums of the 2000s. So, yeah. 2002, my birth year, we have Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, and just a very fun pop album. I listened to this recently, actually, and I think it's just really fun and interesting, and I don't have too much to say about it other than that. A lot of great pop hooks, a lot of great, interesting instrumentals, and yeah, very cool. 2003, we have Elephant by the White Stripes. I don't really like rock in the 2000s that much, honestly, but I think Elephant is one of the best examples of it. It's very like got this indie cutesy vibe, but it has some great guitar work on it, and you can see that on something like Ball and Biscuit, or I mean even just the intro track, right? And yeah, I don't know, just got a lot of great songs, a little bit of variety throughout the track list, and yeah, it's probably close to a 9 out of 10 for me, actually. I think it's one of the best rock albums of the 2000s, but I don't think it really stacks up against any other decade, really. 2004, we got The College Dropout by Kanye, and I think honestly, as bad as Kanye is, he kind of carries the 2000s a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I really just think his rap output there is just some of the best stuff, really, in the entire genre, probably. And yeah, The College Dropout is just one of his best albums, so it has to kind of win in 2004. It just has to. And similarly, in 2005, we have Late Registration. I feel like these two are pretty equal for me in terms of quality, so yeah, I don't know what to say about them. They're just really great rap albums, and I like to listen to them. So yeah, very fun as well. So that's why they're here. 2006. This is kind of weird, but we have Pearl Jam's self-titled album. This is maybe my seventh favorite Pearl Jam album, maybe sixth, possibly. But I don't care. It's great, and I don't know. There's nothing else in this year that really interests me quite as much. So yeah, but it was also one of the best probably rock albums of the 2000s, which is kind of crazy. But Pearl Jam's one of my favorite bands. They didn't really get any spotlight in the 90s because I mean, Fish and Primus actually, but yeah, they're really great. So 2006 it is for Pearl Jam there. 2007, this is one of my favorite albums of the 2000s. We have Sound of Silver by LCD Sound System. You have amazing stuff like, what is it called? Us Versus Them. I think that's what it's called. Us and Them? I don't know, something like that. And then you have obviously oh yeah, Get Innocuous. Yeah, that's what it's called. Those aren't most people's favorites on this album, but those are my favorites. I think everything else is really great as well, but I think those are my two favorites and probably my favorite dance tracks of all time, and definitely the best dance album of all time for me. So, Sound of Silver, really amazing album, start to finish, really interesting as well, great production. So that's why it has to be here. And then 2008, this is kind of weird because this album has really waned on me over time, but we're picking the remaster of Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum by Tally Hall. And the reason I said this is weird because this album is probably the most important album to me, like of all time. I like there's no album that's more important to my life than this album because I wouldn't be listening to music without this album, I don't think. This is really the album that got me into listening to albums in general. So if I didn't listen to this album, I don't think I would be doing this video, which is kind of weird. Um, but yeah, it has waned on me over time, but I think it's got some of the most interesting songs ever, maybe. I mean, it's kind of has this like theatrical, like nerdy, kind of like weird vibe to it, and there's a lot of variety on this album. Some of it doesn't even always work out, I don't think. Like I don't like every song on this album exactly, but the songs I do love, I really, really love. I mean, I love Good Day. I like Welcome to Tally Hall a lot. Um, Obviously, Ruler of Everything is great. Um, and yeah, honestly, if you haven't heard this album, I just suggest you give it a try. It's weird. You might not like it even, but I think it's great. Honestly, I think it's one of a kind, really, and very important to me. So yeah, I love it. 2009. Apparently, I've only heard four albums from this year, which is crazy. But I have the Fame Monster, probably one of the weakest selections on this entire video. I actually don't have anything to say about this album. I mean, I mostly just like the hits from the Fame more actually. So I don't know. The Fame Monster, there it is. 2010. I have My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. A little bit controversial because of Fantano, but yeah. I mean, I don't agree with Fantano. I think it's a great album. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say. It's just such a fun, well produced, like lavish sounding album. It's great. So don't have anything to say about it other than that. 2011, we have Dawn Breaks, The Monster Wakes by Felix Hagen. Not a very well known about album. I think it's just very fun, kind of rocky, weird album. Haven't heard that many albums from 2011 to be honest, but I don't know. I really like this album, and I don't really know why it's not talked about exactly. But yeah, 2012 is a pretty easy one for me. We have Good Kid, Mad City, one of Kendrick's best albums, and I think every track on here is pretty much a hit except for I'm Real, I guess, and maybe Compton a little actually. I think it really kind of falls off at the end. I don't know why, but I think every other track is amazing. I mean, Mad City, Good Kid, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst is incredible. Yeah, I don't have anything new to add about this album. It's clearly a classic rap album, and everyone knows why. It's just fantastic all the way through. So, well, pretty much. For 2013, we have Art Pop, probably the best Lady Gaga album in my opinion. It's the most interesting. It's the most dense. It's the most like experimental probably that she gets, and it has some of her best songs like Donatella and probably Art Pop. Actually, the self-titled track I think is great. So yeah, I love it. I think it's great. 2014, we have an album that probably nobody's heard of. You Know What to Do by the Shivas. My roommate Jackson, shout out to you if you're watching this, would constantly play this album in the dorm essentially, and I remember just thinking like, oh man, it's just basic indie rock and whatever. But over time, this album has just really grown on me, and I love all the songs, and I think they're very fun to sing. They're very fun, just like surf rock kind of tunes. So yeah, that's what we have for 2014. 2015 we have To Pimp a Butterfly. I kind of spoiled it earlier, but I don't know. I can't imagine even picking anything other than this in 2015. I mean, it's just one of the most experimental, instrumentally amazing rap albums of the genre actually. I don't know. Like I just love all the jazzy elements. I love the kind of emotional experience it takes you through. Like I can't imagine even writing something like You or These Walls or something like how do you write that stuff on paper? Like I just don't I can't actually think about how you would do that. Yeah, I don't know. And but you also got amazing kind of more fun songs like All Right and Wesley's Theory that are just bangers. I don't know, like just straight bangers. So yeah, I don't really have any complaints. I think this is one of the best albums of all time, easily. Don't have anything new to add there, and it's more of an emotional experience to me than it is even an album, honestly. And I think you should just listen to the whole thing through. I don't even like listen to songs in this album usually. I just listen to the whole thing through because I think it's just that good. So, yep. To Pimp a Butterfly for 2015. For 2016, this is a stacked year, guys. I don't know why. I don't like music post 2000s as much as I do 70s through 90s generally, but this is a stacked year. I do not know why. I mean, if I look at my 9 out of 10s here, we have Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown, Selfish by Willwood and the Tapeworms, Nonagon Infinity by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, April Fools by the Scary Jokes, and there's still a ton of other good albums. I mean, Joanne by Lady Gaga, Spirit Phone, Lemon Demon, Teens of Denial by Car Seat Headrest, Black Star by David Bowie, Life of Pablo by Kanye West. Like what in the world? But I decided to go with Selfish by Willwood and the Tapeworms because I don't know. It's just one of his most fun albums. It has this almost like metally production, crazy guitar solos, crazy saxophone playing. Willwood's outlandish style and vocals are really prevalent here. A lot of energy. Just I don't know. It's so fun. It's so melodically catchy as well. Um, Easily one of the best albums of the 2010s, and probably my favorite Willwood album as well. For 2017, we have Murder of the Universe by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Shouldn't be a surprise considering they put out 5 albums during this year. I can't believe they did that. Um, but yeah, it's not even close to my favorite King Gizzard album. I don't think it's probably like number 8 or something. I don't know. I've listened to their whole discography. I love it. But this album has a lot of energy, a lot of just fun like rock sounds to it. I don't know how to explain it. And it's also got a story throughout, which is kind of cool. A lot of different sections to this album. Yeah, very cool. I don't mind the spoken word element at all. Some people don't like that, but I think it's fine. Number 18, we have Twin Fantasy by Car Seat Headrest. Pretty easily one of the best rock albums of the modern times. I don't have more to say about it than that. I mean, you have these dramatic, like long songs. You have like these kind of sweet little short songs on it, and I don't have anything to say about it really. I think it's just such a fantastic vibe throughout the whole way through. So, and fun fact, I used to hate Car Seat Headrest for some reason. I used to be like, oh, that's just boring indie rock. No, I was wrong. I was very wrong. 2019, we have Igor by Tyler the Creator. People are right about this. This is just one of the best like R&B kind of rap albums ever. Um, I don't have anything to say about it. I love every song, and very consistent listen all the way through. I've actually listened to this album for so long that I'm like going blank on things to say about it because it's so obviously amazing to me. So apologies for not really knowing what to say about it. I think it's just incredible. So yeah, I don't know. 20, we have the Normal album by Will Wood. Again, you got kind of his classic like theatery style here, and I think the songs are honestly more solid here than they are on Selfish, but I don't like every song as much. I don't actually love Memento Mori, I'm not gonna lie. There's also another song that I'm kind of blanking on what it's called that I don't like as much either, but stuff like Suburbia Overture is a perfect encapsulation of who Will Wood is as an artist. He's so versatile, but he always has this kind of over-the-top kind of production feel, you know? Maybe not production, but I just mean like the songs that he creates are over the top. And yeah, I think it's great. You have Second Sights here, one of my favorite songs from him as well. You have Laplace's Angels, I Me Myself. I mean, these are just top tier songs in general. So yeah, if you haven't heard this album already, definitely give it a listen. It's amazing. 2021, we have LP by JPEG Mafia. This is a weird album, and I've listened to it I think 2 or 3 times now, and yeah, I don't know. It's really great, and I think it has one of the best songs ever in Hazard Duty Pay. And honestly, guys, to be frank, I think JPEG Mafia is probably putting some of the best stuff out right now than any other artist in general. It's kind of funny because there are always these like boomers who will say like, oh, like music's bad right now and stuff. It's like no, like like have you heard JPEG Mafia, bro? Like I don't think so. So yeah, but LP for 2021, incredible stuff. 2022 we have Blue Rev by Always. I can't stop listening to this album actually. It's so amazing where they take these amazing melodies and they have these very dense like guitar sounds just in the background of it, and Rankin's like amazing, vocals throughout, and the guitar solos in these songs are just so amazing. I don't know why, but Alec O'Hanley, he has all these guitar chops, like so much, I don't know, so much cool guitar sounds that he's making in this album, but they're not even the showcase. They could be, and they'd be amazing, but they're not. Like you have these melodies, and then it'll just kind of have these very short guitar sections that I absolutely adore them, and I like the way this album is mixed. Like I think it's so dense sounding, and it just envelops you in sound, and I love that actually. That's why I listen to Primus. I mean, hell, right? Um, yeah, I mean Blue Rev, one of my favorite pop albums ever. Actually, I think it's incredible stuff. Nearly a 10 for me, but it's probably a 9 if I'm being honest. But yeah, 2023 we have Scaring the Hose, another pretty much perfect album. Some of the most experimental stuff ever. I love that. I just love that JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown did a collab here because I think they're some of the best rap artists right now. And yeah, I mean stuff like Scaring the Hose, Garbage Pail Kids, man, Kingdom Hearts Key, God Loves You, Heaven on Earth. I mean, these are like top tier songs. Like they're so good. They're so crazy and angelic and fun and just absurd that they were even created as songs. So Scaring the Hose is easily top album of 2023 for me. 2024 we have The New Sound by Jordy Greep. Fun fact, guys, I did not hear this album for a long time, and I just listened to it like 2 months ago maybe, and I was just blown away by how good it was. I mean, the playing on this album is so good. I heard somebody, I think it was Jason from Taste Like Music, if you've watched them, uh, he said like something like Steely Dan level playing, and I'm like, yeah, that's such a good descriptor. I think it's just perfect playing, really good production, really crazy sounds on this album. So yeah, really good. I think it's almost a hard listen. It's a little long, so maybe that would be a downside, but I think it's a great album. So yeah, for 2025, and that is the current year, obviously, that I'm making this at least. Technically the year's not over, but I don't think anything's beating this. I have Balloonerism by Mac Miller. And this might be a weird statement, but I think this is the T-Pab of this decade. I honestly do. It's the same with T-Pab in the fact that it's very jazzy and it's an emotional roller coaster, right? Like you have these songs that are a little bit happy or reminiscent of childhood, and then you have these very dark sounds about, well, drugs and, or wanting to go back to childhood or something like that. Or I don't know, these kind of like, the dark, like moody stuff of the closer, you know what I mean? And it's just an emotional roller coaster. Like some of it's a lot happier, some of it's very sad and dark and visceral. And it's just taking you through a lot of these experiences that are just, ugh, like, I don't know. It's just creepy to listen to. I don't know. And yeah, I don't think it's weird because Mac Miller's great, but I don't think anything really gets to this level of, I don't know, psychedelia sort of. Like this is his most experimental album, and even though it's posthumous, I think it is his best work, honestly. Which is kind of crazy to say. I can't believe I'm saying that actually, but I do think this is his best album actually. But yeah, I love it, and I can't get enough of it. And I think it's very underrated. I think it should be considered the T-Pab of the decade, honestly. But let me know if you disagree in the comments or any of these. Really, I'm sure there will be a lot of disagreements. It's tons of albums here in this video, so yeah. Definitely let me know what your favorite albums are of each year if you want in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.